Thank you for joining me here. What I'm going to do now is pull back the curtain and give you a detailed and deep walkthrough the Auction Campaign Masterclass members portal. Now, before I do that, I just wanted to make mention, this course is best utilized in two ways. Number one, to be run as a program from start to finish methodically with your entire sales team over a 2 to 3 month journey. And or number two, when you face real life challenges in your current auction campaigns, you can refer to the relevant coaching content and get the answers right now. On the left-hand bar, you can notice the 8 different subject fields inside the program. And I'm going to talk you through what lives inside each one of those. But before I do, on the top left, you'll notice the Welcome tab. When we click inside the Welcome tab, you'll notice a series of different navigational videos to amplify the user experience, to amplify your learning and implementation. On the top of that, you'll notice a Materials tab, and inside that Materials tab lives the course index, which I'm going to refer to at the conclusion of this video. Now let's go back to the left-hand bars. Subject number 1 of 8, you'll notice, is the Campaign Accelerator. All the critical touch points prior to launching your campaign live to the market, from the set to sell meeting, to bringing buyers through prior to launch, extracting their feedback, and also the challenging conversation with your client in relation to tweaking price prior to launch if necessary. Subject number 2 is extracting price feedback. Inside extracting price feedback, we role play and delve deep into the most challenging conversations, specifically around chipping backwards to identify the price the buyer would actually pay for the property as opposed to the fluffy number they think it will sell for. Inside subject 2, we also dissect passing that feedback on to the owners and facilitating the vendor's emotions in those conversations, and we pull the microscope on an overpriced vendor. Also inside this module, we cover the phone call back to the buyer to invite them along to the auction and all the answers to the challenging questions that buyer may ask you in that moment in time. Like, I'm only going to buy prior, or I'm not going to come to the auction if you don't sell to me now. Subject 3 is the vendor communication rhythm. All the critical touch points between you, the selling agent, and your vendors throughout the whole journey of the auction campaign. What does a world-class vendor report look like? How do I increase the likelihood of my vendors and all key decision makers opening that report, reading that report, digesting that report, and discussing that report before I sit down with them for the vendor meeting? We pull the microscope on a challenging vendor meeting, and to be really specific, I'm referring to an overpriced vendor and or an emotionally charged vendor. I've created a 9-box framework for you to be able to facilitate the most impactful vendor meeting in the shortest space of time. From there, we work our way to subject number 4, attracting bidders. You've met those buyers that have expressed some interest. This is the step-by-step process to increase the likelihood of converting an interested buyer into an actual active bidder, putting their hands in the air and bidding competitively. Inside this subject, we also role play and coach you through the one-on-one bidder coaching meeting. Next up is subject 5, the reserve set meeting, otherwise known as the auction strategy meeting. In this module, we cover the conversation between you and your vendor, where you talk them through all the different potential scenarios that could pan out at auction, the good, the bad, and the ugly, so nothing catches your clients off guard. And once again, we put a strong focus on an overpriced vendor and conversations that will inspire them to adjust their reserve price due south if they need to take the strongest offer. Auction Day Magic, module number 6. Auction Day Team Synchronicity, all the mechanics and moving parts on auction day. Where do you stand? Where does your team stand? Where do the bidders stand, the underbidders, the vendors, the auctioneer, and the relationship between all those different key players? From auctions with multiple bidders that run well, from auctions with multiple bidders that fall short, right through to reverse engineering the most challenging sequence, and that being the reverse engineered one bidder auction. Module number 7. The property hasn't sold during the auction. It's passed in or held over post-auction negotiation. How do you achieve the highest possible price immediately post-auction from the bidders, the highest bidder, or a subject to finance buyer that just happens to be standing there? If the property's still not sold, how do you channel your energy to the following week and sell the property as fast as possible for the highest possible price? And you'll notice in module number 8, we've created a director's training, which is specifically designed for sales managers and directors to be coached to increase the likelihood of your team actually implementing everything they learn inside this program. What you'll notice inside the director's module, if you're a director or a sales manager, you can actually send your team to that module and I'll be working on your behalf with that implementation. If you're a salesperson and you're making this investment on your own, inside that module, you'll actually have a sales manager / director style implementation assisting you in this learning. So that you can get a clearer understanding of what this content actually looks like, let's just click inside module number 2, the extracting price feedback module. You'll notice here at the top of the page is what I call a core video. What you'll notice is all the different subject fields have got multiple different modules living inside the subject. For example, here we've got 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 4, 5, and so on. Then there's 3.1, 3.2, etc. Now, let's go to module number 2.1. You'll notice in 2.1 and all the point ones in all the modules, 3.1, 4.1, etc., there's a materials tab. Each one of the subjects has got an elaborate workbook. I'm going to click inside the materials tab so you can get an understanding on the level of detail that I've gone into. You'll notice there's a whole lot of mind maps, models, graphs, and templates, many of which have got blank spaces because I've specifically designed it that way so that you can be noting as I work through with you in the trenches to amplify your learning and implementation. Let's take a look at this. This is just one of the 7 workbooks. Really detailed. It's not supposed to make perfect sense to you right now. If you take a look down here, a whole lot of different mind maps. There's a mind map right there of inviting a buyer to the auction once you've passed on their price feedback to the owner. It makes a lot of sense as we work through the program. The scripts at the back, as you can see. Wherever there's scripts for key conversations inside this program, I've also created detailed video role plays to support the learning, which I'm going to share with you in a moment. As we flick our way back up to the top of the workbook, you'll notice this worksheet here, the Extracting Price Feedback 6-box framework. Just for the sake of this experience with you right now, we're going to refer to this worksheet with a video I'm going to share with you. Let's go to 2.2, the Extracting Price Feedback. Now at the top, there's a big video referred to as the core videos. It's a classroom video where I talk through the actual content. This particular video goes for 17 minutes. I'm going to play you just a little over a minute so you can get an understanding of the presentation. Let's take a look at this. What we're going to do now is work through what I call the phone framework. This is, let me set the scene for you. You've run your open for inspection. You've met everyone who's walked through. You're back at the office and you're now going to call everybody to get their feedback about what they liked about the property, or didn't like for that matter. Now, this could be a conversation that actually takes place as the buyer is at the open or while they're walking out of the open, or if more suitable, it could be on the phone call. Hence why we call it the phone framework. It's a very simple 6-box framework to enhance the chances of the buyer sticking on the phone and being open to this conversation, and to enhance the chances of you getting price feedback from that buyer in the shortest space of time. Because you're time poor, and quite frankly, most buyers that inspect properties, it's going to be hard enough to get them on the phone, let alone making that conversation stick to get through to all the information that you want to get from them. So let's have a look here. You'll notice that the first box. So that was just 1 minute of this 17-minute classroom style coaching video. What I then did is I asked myself, what can I do to amplify this learning experience? I've taken that 6-box phone framework of extracting an offer. I've injected it in the bottom right-hand corner of a role play I'm going to share with you in a moment. And I've got a highlighted yellow box as I cross over into the next sequence. Let's take a look at this video. I'm just going to share with you a small snippet. I'll share with you the beginning so you can understand how I set the scene. Take a look at this. And what we're going to do is we're going to work our way through the 6-box phone framework, which of course can be used in person too if I managed to talk to James as he was exiting. Now keep in mind the script is at the back of the workbook. Also keep in mind you don't need to stick to the script or the exact framework. It's important to introduce your own personality to this. Now I'm going to fast forward just past the 2-minute mark, and I'm going to share with you a specific component of this role play. Now remember, inside Auction Campaign Masterclass, we dig deep, and even deeper to extract price feedback at prices buyers would actually pay versus the fluffy number they think it would sell for. Let's take a look at this. Okay, great. So it's not for you.
Not for me.
You're saying you wouldn't purchase the property.
It's just a bit small.
Now, I know this feels a little bit strange, given that you've said that, but I did promise my clients that I would ask this question of everybody.
Okay.
Is there a price at all that you would pay? You're probably looking around at a few properties, any number at all that would inspire you to buy this home.
I think you guys were asking, what were you asking again?
950 to $1 million.
I think you were a bit over the mark in regards to other properties that I've seen.
Yep. Now, James, would you pay, for example, 9 to 950?
No.
Okay. So I know this is going to start feeling a little bit strange as I'm working my way backwards, but I'm just trying to ascertain if you've got any interest at all. Now, I know that you're saying that you don't, but I've had buyers tell me that before, and then I find out that they kind of are interested. So if I was selling your house, I'd do the same thing, James.
Yeah.
Sometimes we find buyers that we least expected. Would you pay between 850? That was just a small snippet of one of the many role plays that live inside this program. Then I asked myself the question, what are all the different challenging scenarios that could offshoot specifically from this coaching content? So what I did is I created supportive coaching material, otherwise known as FAQs, to amplify your learning experience. Let me just talk you through a few of those. For example, I don't have time to facilitate this conversation. How do I speed it up? For example, I can't get a hold of the buyer. Can I have this conversation over text message? For example, the buyer said their offer only stands prior to auction. What do I do? Just so you can get an understanding of what this supportive coaching content looks like, let's pull out the microscope and take a look inside the FAQ. My buyer is not answering their phone. Can I extract price feedback over text? I'm trying to call the buyer to extract price feedback and I can't get a hold of them. Can I extract the offer via text? Now, to relieve you of a little bit of pressure, remember, all you're doing is extracting price feedback at a figure that your buyer sees value. What you're not doing is extracting a formal offer to sell the property. So that should make you feel a little bit more relaxed about doing this over text message. The next question is, what does that text message look like? Something along the lines of this. Now remember, add your own personality to it. This is just a suggestion. Hi Mary, I met you at 7 Smith Street, Richmond on the weekend. My vendors have asked me to contact you. I hope that's given you a very clear understanding in relation to the level of detail that I've gone into to make this coaching program world-class, easy to digest, and easy for you and or your team to implement instantly. Now let's go back to that welcome page that I discussed earlier, and let's go inside the materials tab, and I'm going to open up the course index. Now remember, this course is best run in 2 ways. Number 1, with your whole team or you as an individual from start to finish over a 2 to 3 month journey. And or number 2, when you're facing challenges inside your auction campaigns right now, you can refer to this index and go to the piece of coaching content that's going to help you in this particular moment in time. And the good news is if you're a sales manager or director and you've got your whole team on board, you can refer them to the particular part of the index so they can go and get the answers to their questions, and you don't need to answer the same old questions over and over again. Matter of fact, they've got access to it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 12 months of the year. Let's take a look inside that index. As you can see, the highlighted yellow tabs represent the 8 different subject fields we discussed earlier. To put this program into perspective, there's over 150 videos, and what we just covered is module 2.2, and that being extracting price feedback, the phone framework. I've been auctioneering for in excess of 10 years and partnered with some of Australasia's leading auction agents. Over that time, I've always been fascinated what a world-class auction campaign looks like and why auction campaigns fail. I've siphoned all of my key learnings over those 10 years and refined it to live inside the Auction Campaign Masterclass members portal. This program is specifically designed to achieve 4 things. Number 1, to attract more active bidders bidding emotionally charged against each other at auction. Number 2, to sell for higher prices. Number 3, to win more auction listings directly off the back of your auction campaigns. And number 4, for you and your entire team to methodically run successful auction campaigns each and every single time, whether it's a rising market, declining market, or a stable market. Thank you for taking the time to get a tour inside the members portal. I'm really looking forward to rolling up my sleeves and working together.